Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to play around with a little bit of a different topic. I got a question from someone on the MB Fanatics forum call that basically went like this. Pierre, in your opinion, what is the most appealing classic Mercedes if I want to impress a girl? Now I am not answering this question for guys who want to get laid in the back seat of the car. That is not the kind of territory we're going into here. This is for a man who who is stable, married, or is maybe looking to buy a Mercedes that's got some style, some flair, might be looking for a long-term steady girlfriend, maybe just an impressive car that people are going to notice. And I'm going to share some of my personal experience with you about the effect that some of the Mercedes that I've had have had on women. Now, I met my current girlfriend because I'd like to say because of my 83 300D. She saw the car and she's like, "Hey, I really like your car. I want to drive it." And then later on, she drove a W108 that I was servicing for a client, and she thought that that was really cool. And I feel like there's some flair here that some of you would benefit from. So, a long time ago in 2011, I bought my 280 SE 4.5. It wasn't very expensive. I had to do a few things to it, but I had a friend that was interested in getting to know me better, and she was a very attractive girl. She was somewhat younger than I was. Not too much younger. She wasn't in high school or anything, but I'd like to think that the 280 SE 4.5 helped seal the deal, and it sort of gave us like a conversation piece. It gave us like something about me that she was drawn to that gave her like a reason to go somewhere with me. And when you go somewhere with somebody, you can talk to them, you can get to know them a little bit. They could see that you're into nice things, that you're not just an average run-of-the-mill guy who is like some kind of new car, like a new BMW or a new Nissan or a new Honda. Having a vintage Mercedes lets anybody, women, men, doesn't matter who they are, know that you are a different kind of guy. Um, or a different kind of girl. I've met plenty of girls. If you watch the videos for country music singer Maren Morris, she features classic Mercedes extensively in her videos, and I think it makes her very interesting. So anyway, I'd like to hear your feedback on this topic. Um, maybe tell me some more about your experience with Mercedes. But there are some other models that I think have come up that have been really cool. I also have a 300 TD wagon, and I think that's sort of been a conversation piece. A lot of girls that I've known have commented said, "Oh, wow, that's a really cool car. Wow, I love that color. Wow, it's like super, super vintage." And I think the kind of girl that's into old things, older practical things, like maybe has like a 30-year-old piece of furniture that she uses on a daily basis is going to love a W123. Um, if you're into really high class girls who might be wearing like a lady's Rolex, who come from a family that is established and well bred and polite, what you're going to see is an affinity for some of the more expensive stuff, like a W111 coupe. Now, some women have, and some men too, have a disdain for older cars. You see this with some people. They only like new things. And if you do have a vintage Mercedes and the person you're into is not interested in older cars, it's generally a sign that you shouldn't be seeing them and that they they may not belong in a relationship with you. But I find that really classy girls, especially in my past, loved the W111 coupe. They loved the W100, 600. They loved the W109 with its extra velour and wood and self-leveling air suspension and the immense amounts of power that the 6.3 liter V8 had. And finally, I think if you're interested in a girl that is a lot of fun, that she likes to go do things, she's like a top down, windows down kind of girl. What girl can say no to a W107 or a W113? But I know a W113 is out of reach for a lot of us. The early W107 or the Euro W107 with its Euro bumpers, though, is definitely a chick magnet, especially if you pull up with your top down, windows down, saying, hey, you know, I know you wanted to go to lunch today, but screw it, let's go to the beach instead, because it's a great day, I've got the top down. So, you know, and then finally, I have to plug the Galinda wagon. The Galinda wagon had done wonders for me. If you're a guy who's worried about his image, and I'm not saying that because I'm judging it, I'm saying it because at one point in time, that's something that I was worried about too. I feel like the Galinda wagon gives a man an extra shot of confidence. Like when you pull up in a Galinda wagon and you step out of one, you don't look like some guy driving a Jeep. You feel like somebody who has just gotten back from a safari or like a bush doctor in Africa or something. And that effect actually sort of spills over to women. And I could say that a lot of women who I was friends with saw the Galinda wagon. And even if they didn't care for me very much personally, they seemed to like that car, you know, that truck, really. And then I had, you know, I've had people ask me to comment on the W113 in the past. I do own a 280 SL. It's a 1970. My sister and I own it. But I had a friend who didn't care for me very much. She was usually in a bad mood whenever we hung out. And so one night I decided to take her to picnic in the 280 SL. And we were driving like under an overpass. And when I lit up the exhaust of that car in third gear, just boom! You know, you don't think of a 113 as an immensely powerful car. It was sort of enough to get her to change her mood and lighten up a little bit and act like we were going out and doing something fun. And sure enough, when I saw her later, we showed up in a rental car. Well, I showed up in a rental car. That didn't help very much. So, sort of had the reverse effect. So, guys, you know, if you're trying to make yourself cool or help your image, a vintage Mercedes says more than a nice watch or some expensive sunglasses or some Gucci loafers. So, and sometimes it's a lot less expensive than the watch, too. Anyway, if you have more questions like this about how you can improve your social status by driving a vintage Mercedes, then just ask. You know, I'll be happy to help. And thank you for subscribing to our channel and giving us a thumbs up.